Good afternoon, I'm Bill Nolan, Vice President of the Williams Group, and today we're going to talk about the dangerous roads that lie ahead for many of us in the world of optometry. Probably no one today who's visiting with us and watching this video needs any help knowing how difficult and challenging the world of optometry is. I want to address an area that most all optometrists are certainly aware of and that most optometrists think about and talk a lot about. In our consulting business, many ODs talk to us about the whole general umbrella called the area of technology. And I want to discuss technology as it relates perhaps to three different areas of your practice. The internet, what sometimes people refer to as the back office technologies, and certainly the medical technology. But before I do, I want to set the stage for why technology is so important in today's world of optometry and what dangerous road does lie ahead for the late adopters or the practices who just frankly decide not to adopt and integrate technology as a mode and modality of practice today. The world is flat. Author Tom Friedman coined that phrase in 2005 with his book called The World is Flat. He called that The World is Flat 1.0. and he is now referring to that as the world is flat 2.0. Last year in 2010, 350 million laptop computers were sold worldwide. People are interconnected today in the world like never before. There is technology being developed in the garages of small homes in Mumbai that are affecting the banking industry in the country of India. There is a startup medical technology business that is run out of a small office building in St. Louis, but is incorporating engineers in Europe, design and medical technology personnel in California, as well as a small group of doctors and technologists in St. Louis. And so they're bringing together thoughts, creativity, ideas from all different parts of the globe to integrate this technology into a startup medical design company in the city of St. Louis. And you might be wondering as you watch this video, well, how does that apply to me in the practice of optometry? The reason it applies to you is because that is the kind of thing and the kind of technology that's being employed that your patients are seeing in their own workplace, that they are interacting with in other healthcare providers, whether that's their general physician, whether that's their pediatrician, their dentist, their podiatrist, whatever it might be. And subliminally, from a marketing standpoint, what happens is when those patients that you have in your practice are interacting technologically in other practices that they deal with, whether it's their dentist, whether again it's their physician, subliminally they're starting to see a change in the world in which all of us live and work. And then when they come to your practice, the eye care practice, subliminally they're expecting to see that same technology. So let's talk just a little bit about how that might look in your practice, what that's going to look like in the years ahead. Let's talk about the most basic of principles, the internet. Obviously what the internet has done is it's made vast amounts of information readily available to your patients and to my patients. Never before have people been so connected, not only certainly in the US, but around the world. A mother of three in a small town in Minnesota can access information about her contact lenses or about her cornea or about her vision from an expert or from a doctor who might live half a globe around the world from her small town in Minnesota. And because of the internet, those people are now have interconnectivity. What that's done is it's raised her awareness, that's given her information that she may never have had outside of your office. So from an education standpoint, a person can get all kinds of information about their eye health, about their contact lenses, about all kinds of eye care products. They can do that from their smartphone. The world is transitioning from laptop to iPad to iPod to smartphone. And so all of this technology will allow information to be readily accessible very quickly. I also read the other day that for the first time in history, a group in India has set up 3G capability at the foot of Mount Everest. So a young climber who's going to climb Mount Everest can quickly from their smartphone send a message back to mom and dad, say, hey, guess what? Guess where I am and guess what I'm doing. When Sir Edmund Hillary climbed Mount Everest in 1953, in order to communicate to the base camp and back, they sent Sherpas up and down the hill with handwritten notes. And now people climb Mount Everest with their 3G phone and send live streaming video from the climb, or at least texting to let them know that they're doing that. So the point of that is that because of the internet, not that all information is good information, but your patients now have access to information about the care they're receiving from you, about the products that you carry in your optical dispensary, about the contact lens products and solutions that you sell patients. They have instant access to that. The consumer today, the patient consumer in the healthcare arena, is far more educated than any consumer ever, and that will only continue to grow. The impact of that is it puts a burden to a certain extent on the practitioner that I then, of course, need to be absolutely up to date and up to speed on all the products and all the services that are available, because traditionally that patient received that education and information from me. So they were limited in what they would know and understand about their eye care experience only from information that I gave them. But today that's not true. That patient that walks in your practice today is fully aware, has the option to be fully aware, and that's critically important. The other thing that technology is certainly doing is it's affecting the back office of your practices. Our ability, all of the interactions that many of your staff use from a business standpoint, whether that's just accessing the bank accounts of the practice to pay bills online, whether that's ordering frames and lenses through labs dispersed all over the United States online, all that back end through all the portals, all of that back end loaded ordering system is happening, the ordering and supply of contact lenses. Insurance billing, obviously, most every doctor viewing this video today is fully aware. I believe the recent AOA studies show that about 70 to 75% of your practice is involved in somehow in a third-party transaction, either on the eye care side of your practice or perhaps on the eyewear side of your practice. So 8 out of every 10 patients that interact from a business standpoint with the office are bringing in some TPA, some third-party administrator, whether that's VSP, whether that's Blue Cross and Blue Shield, whether that's Cigna, that the office now will be required to interact with through the internet in order for your practice to be paid. So the days of paper routing slips that might be mailed to a provider in order for you to be paid, if they're not gone already, they will be gone shortly. Even the federal government has transitioned to that with their Medicare program. And so the back office, the business sides of the practice are highly affected by technology. So your ability to interface with all of your third-party carriers, your ability to have the right protocols, your ability to code and bill correctly so that you can get paid on a timely basis. Because if you follow the logic of that math, it must also mean now that about 80% of the average practice revenue, and in some cases maybe even closer to 90%, is coming from some third-party administrator. And if that administrator is going to require that in order for you to be paid on a timely basis, you're going to have to use their technology, their portal, their internet portal to get paid, then a practice is going to have to transition to that. And obviously the third and final big frontier is the whole area of medical technology. Obviously it's hit our colleagues in other areas of allied health, maybe even a little faster than it hit us. But it's not uncommon today for you to go in if you break your arm or sprain your wrist and to have your radiograph electronically sent to a doctor in Mumbai who will read that X-ray and provide a diagnosis to an emergency room in small town Montana. That technology, which seemed to be so Star Wars 5 or 10 years ago, is really fairly commonplace in today's world. Angiograms are read often remote. A major medical center may require a small outlying outpost medical clinic to send that data to them electronically, and a diagnosis is made and sent back to the primary care physician in a small community. Has that kind of thing hit optometry? Yes, and it will continue to grow. I think the other big area of technology is in terms of diagnostic equipment. I don't think it's inconceivable that over the next 3 to 5 years, as refracting technology it continues to get better, as it continues to expand, it is possible and likely that it's already happening in other places in the world, Canada, Scandinavia, where the technology could potentially, in the mind of the patient, replace me as the practitioner. Sometimes I refer to that as optometry always has to be on the smart side of the camera. If you're not, in the patient mind, especially that group that's between probably 25 and 35, that generation X, Y, or Z that is coming up now into your practice, who grew up with Game Boys and Palm Pilots and smartphones and iPads. They understand the power of technology, and you don't want the power of technology to transpose medically and take the place of the practitioner. I believe strongly that the single greatest practice building idea a practitioner can have is to continue to reinvest in as much technology as the cash flow of their practice will allow them to do. Because at the end of the day, most people always want to have a doctor and patient relationship. But they want to have that doctor-patient relationship in the confines, in the context of a state-of-the-art, high technology practice. Everybody in today's healthcare environment always equates excellent care with technology. They don't want to replace their practitioner, but they want to know that their practitioner has, in the way of diagnostic equipment, all the latest and greatest in technology. And whether that is microscopes, whether that is technology to analyze and determine dry eye, whether that is refracting technology, whether that is the latest and greatest in macular degeneration technology. They want to know that my doctor has all the diagnostic equipment possible to make sure that my eye health is insured not only today but over the next 20 years. Probably nothing quite affects a person's long-term quality of life like healthy eyes. And my ability to live well, to be active, to be vibrant, is to a large extent contingent upon my health, having healthy eyes and seeing well. And so in order to ensure that, I'm going to need more and more technology into the future to do that. And so I think from a medical standpoint in a practice, my ability to reinvest and always have the latest and greatest and stay on the smart side of the technology. I certainly don't want anybody to walk away today to think that the technology will replace the doctor-patient relationship, because it never will. But if I don't utilize the technology, your patients will turn to alternative sources of delivery for their health care, for their eye care, and part of what they will turn to will be practitioners and practices that provide that state-of-the-art medical technology. So I think the road ahead can be perilous if we let it. There's no question there'll be challenges to navigate, but I think for practitioners who embrace the technology and realize that this will be the way optometry is practiced, not only 1 year from now, but 20 years from now, I think you will find that it'll also be quite rewarding as a practitioner. Your practices will grow. There'll be, not only will there be challenges, those challenges will be exciting from a professional development standpoint, and in the end, you'll provide much better patient care, and the doctor-patient relationship will stay in your practice long after you've sold or retired your practice.